Hello and welcome to Resource Review. Non-specialist primary teachers can sometimes find teaching music a challenge. But today's resources should help. We're looking at a book and CD-ROM pack.
And there are a couple of questions I want you to consider. The first one is, what is Danny Boy about?
A CD recorder and player.
2, 3. Here comes the one and only, riding on a big fat pony.
And an orchestral website for children. Will these resources be music to your ears? Well, keep watching Resource Review to find out. Recommending today's resources is Dina Day, Primary Music Coordinator for Hertfordshire Music Service. Joining us as well, we have Tim Brooks, Music Consultant for Arts and Culture, City of York Council. And we also have Adrienne Jones, a freelance educational consultant and former primary school teacher. Well, thank you all for coming. It's great to see you. So Dina, let's start with Music Express. Can you tell us what this resource is made up of and why you chose it?
Yes, Music Express is a complete primary music scheme of work from A&C Black. They make it very easily accessible with one book per year group, plus an accompanying CD and CD-ROM, so that all of the resources a teacher needs are there.
Right.
It comprehensively covers all of the requirements of the QCA scheme of work.
What makes this stand out for you?
I think, first of all, that it provides a really fun and enjoyable set of resources for children to access, but it makes also the teacher's job a lot easier.
Well, before we discuss this resource any further, let's see it in action. We gave Music Express to teacher Mark Corcoran at Engain Primary School in Havering, London, and he tried it out with his Year 6 class.
Today I was using Music Express for my music lesson. The children were using the songs from Music Express and looking at the lyrics and how those lyrics have been written from the social and cultural conditions of the time.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are cold.
First thing I want to try and do is identify the time and place, that's where and when, words from songs are written. The children are quite used to looking at Music Express. They're aware of the way that the music is presented to them. They're quite used to the CD being on, and they enjoy the songs and the modern tunes used in the resource. And there are a couple of questions I want you to consider. The first one is, what is Danny Boy about? And the second one, you may realise that there's a similar theme. The units of work in Music Express follow the QCA scheme of work which most schools are following. There is plenty of opportunity for cross-curricular links. In the lesson today you would have seen children using their work from history as well as their musical work today. What was it about the way the person was singing that let you know that this song wasn't recorded yesterday? It was actually recorded a lot. Music Express is well designed because the lessons are very, very simple. They give you a few ideas, they give you a few tasters that enable you to either follow them strictly or you can take them and change them as you so wish. It's an ideal resource for people who aren't quite so confident at teaching music because there's a lot of resources, a lot of planning and ideas there for you to copy. There's not much I don't like about Music Express. What I could perhaps suggest in terms of improvement might be for those teachers who don't come from such a musical background as other teachers might do, is to provide them with more ideas of how to use the instruments, sort of more patterns or more actual theory in terms of what notes to use to accompany certain songs. I've been using Music Express for the last couple of years and I certainly intend on using Music Express again.
Well, Dina, we saw Mark there and he clearly liked this resource, using it very much for its cross-curricular themes potentially with the social and economic sides that you could explore. But what about music as a practical subject? What about the performance? Will this help with that?
It does, yes. Both within the the balance of each yearbook individually and across the whole scheme, there are lots of opportunities to perform music, to play accompaniments to music, and for children to perform the music that they've composed.
Oh, right, OK. Now, Tim, what kind of response have you had from teachers that use this resource?
Well, where I work in the City of York, I would estimate about 80% of teachers already use Music Express. And for all the reasons that Dina says, that it is a very, very user-friendly resource, and it is great for non-specialist primary school teachers to actually use. So it's got a lot of things going for it, and it is being taken up by a lot of schools.
As it stands, Adrienne, what are your thoughts on this resource?
I think it's a resource that's been really well planned. So the publishers have actually considered the requirements, not only of the national curriculum, but of the children. So, for example, you get a very attractive font, you get good illustrations which are very child friendly, and you've got photocopyable activities for children as part of it. And one of the things I really liked about it was the fact that you get video material which shows you, for example, what Indian music is like. So you have this really rich music resource which sets a context to integrate with the rest of the curriculum. And I think seeing music in its context like that with other subjects, as we saw on the video, you know, integrating it with history, is a really nice idea.
Well, thank you very much. Now let's move on to Dina's second choice of resource, and it's this. Dina, tell us more about this resource. What is it?
Well, Hermione, it's a direct-to-CD recorder.
Great. So that's what it is. Tell us a bit more about this resource. I mean, why did you choose it?
Well, first of all, because it's so easy to operate. It's strong, it has a carrying handle, you can take it anywhere and make a good quality direct-to-CD recording or record from tape.
Well, before we talk about it any further, let's see it in use. During their half-term break, we gave it to a group from Woodcraft Folk at their Environmental Activities Centre in Bromley, Kent, and they agreed to try out the recorder.
The children that were here today were using the CD recorder to record songs that they'd learned.
Rep mute. So we've got the red record button.
Because of the colour-coded buttons that were on the handset and on the CD recorder, they found it really easy to use, and they could use it quite quickly.
We've got the volume, like that.
It's quite solid, it doesn't move around, it can't be knocked off the table easily.
So let's make sure we've got a CD.
It's not fiddly in any way.
So shall we, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Here comes the one and only, riding on a big fat pony. Here comes the one and only, we're gonna have a party. Do we listen to that? Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Listen. Right. Yes, let's play. You ready? Yeah. Here comes the one and only, riding on a big fat pony. Here comes the one and only, we're gonna have a party.
You can record CDs onto it. It's also got the facility to record and to play cassettes.
If you wanted to record 2 CDs, then it has that facility as well.
Okay,
I think there are some drawbacks in it. It would be useful to be able to take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, maybe record part of one CD, record part of another CD, part of a cassette, something like that. But with this, you don't have the facility to do that.
It hasn't got a battery pack, so it's not actually portable.
1, 2, 3.
And I think the cost of this, really for what it is or for what extra it offers, is not value for money. I think that the CD recorder was a lot of fun for them today, and that's obviously, if children are enjoying themselves, then they'll learn.
But our band is called the Banana Band. It's called the Woodcraft Folk one. Banana.
Well, Dina, the group there clearly emphasised on it being fun to use. For actually teaching, there's got to be more to it than that, hasn't there?
Yes, fun is very important, and the children there were very clearly engaged in what they were doing. I think from the point of view of the curriculum music, this really scores where you can record and instantly review and evaluate children's work.
What about our panel? Tim, I mean, can you see advantages to this resource other than just recording straight onto a computer, for example?
I like the idea that it's very simple. I think the simplicity is very encouraging. Personally, I've been doing a lot of work with encouraging primary teachers to record their children's work. I have gone down the laptop route, and there is software that I've been recommending to teachers that is completely free of charge, that could do the job for you. The only capital outlay would be a microphone, which would set you back round about £80, £90.
Adrienne, what are your views on the CD recorder?
Well, the thing is that although this is in a context of music, actually you wouldn't use it just for music. You get children recording their stories onto it, you get teachers who might be asking questions and then the children listen to those and do their own work. I mean, it's got a multitude of different uses, not just the music curriculum.
Right, OK, great. Well, we've got to move on now to Dina's third choice of resource, and this time it's a website called NY Phil Kids Zone. So Dina, explain this website to us.
It's a great website, it's great fun, and it's completely free.
Brilliant.
Which is always an advantage.
What is it?
New York Philharmonic Education Department have put together a website which introduces children to the idea of a working orchestra. And so children who are perhaps learning a musical instrument can find information about famous players, famous conductors, famous composers who've written for the orchestra. There are interviews, there are pen portraits, and...
Sounds very broad.
Yes, it's very broad.
OK. What did our panel think?
It was a really exciting website. It had lots of really user-friendly graphics on it. My favourite bit was the minuet maker, and I could see where you could actually take bits of Mozart, you know, phrases from Mozart's music, and actually rearrange them to make your own tune.
Tim, how important is it for pupils to get an understanding of the orchestra?
I think it's very important in this day and age where we have a very broad approach to music making, looking at music from other cultures, from music from all around the world. I actually have this feeling that sometimes music from our own tradition sometimes gets neglected as a result.
And I think it brings children into contact with the orchestra as a group of real people. For instance, it can talk to the musicians about what they wanted to do when they were young.
Right.
And I think that's a really important perspective, because aiming at children like this, children are the consumers of music of the future. It's through the children who are young now that orchestras like this will survive, and they'll be the audiences.
Right. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. But to summarise, the three resources that we looked at were Music Express CD and book from A&C Black, the recordable CD player from Coomba, and finally, the New York Philharmonic Kids Zone website from the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. For more information about any of the resources featured in today's programme, and to post your own comments about other resources for primary creative arts, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review. Or if you want to, email us. We're at resourcereview@teachers.tv. So I'd like to say a big thank you to our panel, to Dina, to Tim and to Adrienne. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.